Hi students, coming to the next class is the plant growth. See, this is a new chapter. In the last class we completed photosynthesis chapter, right? Coming to this chapter, plant growth and development. See, in the last year also we discussed regarding to the growth and development. I asked within human beings, see the zygote is there. Zygote is a single cell. It's have the capacity to produce many number of cells, okay? A group of cells which are produced from the zygote, that is nothing but embryo. Then how the embryo have the capacity to produce different types of organs. Okay, last year I asked one question, how the embryo have the capacity to produce different types of organs. Last time I said hormones. The magic is the hormones. See, within human beings, mother producing hormones which have the capacity to produce different types of organs by the regulation of gene expression process. See, all chromosomes are not expressed in all cells. In some cells, some chromosomes are expressed. Then organ is different. For suppose in liver cells, some chromosomes are expressed. In heart cells, some chromosomes are expressed. In kidney cells, some chromosomes are expressed. See, if the gene expression is altered, the proteins are altered, the functions are altered, right? See, that is about that animal tissue differentiation or organ differentiation process. In the same manner, in plants also, see, growth is regulated, right? The development is also regulated. Growth is regulated and development also regulated by the phytohormones. Some of the phytohormones which are supporting for the growth and some of the phytohormones which are inhibiting the growth. See, which are called as plant growth hormones, which are also called phytohormones, Totally, we know there is an auxins are there, gibberellins are there, cytokinins are there, which are majorly supporting for the growth. Abscisic acid is there and ethylene is there, which are growth inhibitors. So these are the hormones. We will discuss detailed explanation. Okay, and see here what is growth. We know in the first year classes we discussed what is growth. Growth is an irreversible increase in the mass. See, growth is exhibited by the living organisms. So in non-living organisms also growth is exhibited. The best example is the sand molds are there and mountain peaks, right? Mountains, every year the height of the mountain is increased. See, due to tectonic plates movement, the height of the mountain is increased. So here there is a non-living and living, both the organisms are exhibit the growth. See, here according to this chapter, here growth is a characteristic feature of living organisms, definitely. See, here organism is there, the organism size is increased or maybe mass is increased, right? Here permanent growth is permanent and irreversible increase in size. Shape, weight means the number of cells are increased. Maybe more number of cells are produced. More weight is there. Size is also increased, right? And volume of the plant increases the volume of the plant. The basic concept is every living organism life is started with the single cell. Any organism, especially in multicellular organisms. Okay, the single cell is the zygote. The zygote involved in the cell division process, mitosis process, right? That mitotic divisions are supporting to increase the mass. Again, the cells are involved in the cell division. Organs are produced. So continuously growth is exhibited by the living organisms. We know within plants in two directions growth. We are not two direction exactly. Basically, we observed two directions. The growth is observed in two directions. One is the shoot apical bud. Other one is the root apical bud. Right? Both are continuously growing. And one more type of growth is also there. Secondary growth within plants. Some of the plants exhibit the secondary growth. See, the root growth and shoot growth seen in all the plants. but the secondary growth is secondary growth is seen in some plants only. So these are the examples. So here the statement permanent growth is permanent, irreversible, right? Permanent and irreversible increase in size. Size is increased. Shape, the shape also increased. Weight also increased, right? And volume of the plant also increased. So that is about the basic definition of growth for the growth within living organisms. And suspension of growth means some of the factors which inhibits the growth, right? Some are maybe the external factors, some are maybe the internal factors. Some are maybe the external factors, some are maybe the internal factors. So some of the exogenous factors means external factors. Exogenous factors which controls the growth of the organism or which inhibits the growth of the organism. Environmental factors are the best example. Temperature is the one of the best example, right? See habitat. If we see in one of the mesophytic plant and the xerophytic plant, which plant shows the more growth? Mesophytic plant, because water availability is there, minerals are there, and everything is available for the mesophytic plants or mesophytes. And if we see in the xerophytic plants, the very dry conditions are there, high temperature is there, right? Water is not available, water scarcity is there, right? So growth is very, very less in that case. Growth is there, but growth is very, very less. So environmental factors also influences the growth. Environmental factors also influences the growth. So if the growth is inhibited by the external factors, that one is called as quiescence. That one is called as quiescence. All of you remember, if the growth is suspended by the external factors or environmental factors, that mechanism is called as quiescence, right? And next one, growth is inhibited by the internal factors. Growth is inhibited by the internal factors. That is nothing but endogenous factors or endogenously factors, right? So that one is called as dormancy. If internal factors inhibits the growth, the condition is called as dormancy. If external factors inhibits the growth, the condition is called as quiescence. So here hormones are the best examples, right? And genetical factors. See hormones which are also related to the genetical factors. For suppose we know one plant is there, the plant is the tall plant. The plant is the tall plant, capital T and capital T. And one of the plant is there, the plant is the short plant. So here, these are the genes which are influences the height of the plant. This is the tall plant. This is the short plant. So why here plant grown tall? Why here plant grown not grown tall? Or why here plant is short? Why here plant is short? Simply I will say here these genes are responsible to grow plant tall, and these genes are inhibits the growth of the plant. These genes not shows the growth, proper growth. These genes are not shows the proper growth, and these genes influences or this presence of these genes the plant grown tall, because these genes means that is one of the DNA segment. That segment is responsible for the synthesis of growth hormone. That DNA segment responsible for the synthesis of growth hormone. So if the bit of the DNA influences the growth hormone or produces the growth hormone, the plant grows tall. And this bit of DNA segment is not responsible to produce more amount of growth hormone. This is not responsible to produce more amount of growth hormone. Very, very less amount of growth hormone is produced. And mostly in certain cases absent also. Mostly, very, very rare cases. The growth hormone production also absent also. Right? So presence of these genes, much amount of growth hormone is not produced. Presence of these genes, much amount of growth hormone is produced. Here not produced, here produced. So these genes responsible for the growth. So genes produces hormones, hormones influences the growth. Genes produces hormones influences the growth. So here this is one of the internal factor. So hormones and genetical factors which influences the growth. So the condition is dormancy. The condition is called as dormancy, right? So that is about some of the basic words related to the growth and influencing factors, right? And we know this is a very easy concept. We discussed it so many times. There is a seed is there. The seed is germinating. That is nothing but seedling process. When the favorable conditions are there, right? That time, when the water is available, that time the seed shows the imbibition process. It absorbs the water and breakdown of seed coat and whatever that embryo is there, the embryo involved in the rapid cell division process, and it produces basically two parts are there. We know this is the seed, and there is an epicotyle part, and this is the hypocotyle part. This is the dicot seed, right? Based on these two parts, we can say epicotyle part, and this is the hypocotyle part. So within monocot seed, there is an root part is there, right? Coleoptile part, coleorhiza part within monocot seed. See here dicot, there is an epicotyle and hypocotyle parts, right? See the epicotyle part having that small, very small, thin bud-like structure, or small, very small granule-like structure, right? That part is responsible for the production. That part is called as plumule. That part is called as plumule. That part is responsible for the shoot production. The plumule part is responsible for the shoot production, right? See, this is the one of the hypocotyle region. This is responsible for the root production. We know the radical within dicots. There is a radical part is there. That radical is responsible for the production of roots. So plumule is there, radical is there, which are responsible for the plumule is responsible for the shoot part production. Radical is responsible within dicots. Okay, within dicots, the radical is responsible for the root production. And whatever that upper part is there, here there is in cotyledons are there, which are the very first leaves, right? See, if these are two, the plant is the dicot. If these are one, the plant is the monocot, right? So cotyledons are there initially, which are exhibit, which stores the food material and supplies. Later, these are turns into the green color, performs the photosynthesis process, right? Supplies the nutrients, right? And this is the root part. Continuously the roots are grown and the shoot part is grown. Finally plant production is there. Whatever the shoot part, it produces a group of leaves and which performs the photosynthesis. Here whatever the root is there, right? The lateral roots production also takes place, right? So here how the development takes place. From here to here, how the development takes place. See, the magic is here the phytohormones. The hormones are responsible for the organogenesis process. Organogenesis process. We know about tissue culture. Within tissue culture also we are producing. Last time we went to the CTRA, that time we have seen the tissue culture test tubes. So there is a callus is there. Again the callus is changed into the another nutrient media and which having the phytohormones. Then the root production takes place and shoot pod production takes place, right? See, that one is the best example. Okay, the phytohormones influences the growth of the plant. Phytohormones influences the organogenesis. Some are responsible for the root production and some are responsible for the shoot production, right? Some are responsible for the leaves production and some are responsible for the flowers production. So here organogenesis majorly done by the different types of the phytohormones. That phytohormones influences growth and organogenesis process, right? So this is the actual explanation. And see here there is a seed and germination process. That is nothing but seedling. Plant is there. We already discussed the different phases of the plant life cycle. Vegetative. See, before the flowering, okay, the plant, any plant develops the body parts, right? So before the flowering, the body parts are developed. The phase is called as vegetative phase. Vegetative organs are developed. Vegetative organs are developed means whatever the roots are there, whatever the shoot part is there, right? So all these parts are developed. Okay. Before the flowering, the phase is called as vegetative phase, right? And reproductive phase, when the plant produces the flowers, that time, that period is considered as the reproductive phase. Okay. See, the reproductive phase varies from one plant to another plant. Maybe for cereals, is different. Okay, for suppose if we take the best examples here, one of the rice plant is the rice plant. Okay, the reproductive phase is different from the mango plant. Every year mango plant produces the flowers. So the cases are different from one plant to the another plant, right? See, we already discussed there is a monocarpic plants and bicarpic plants are there and perennial plants are there. So the characters are different from the flowering capacity or the flowers producing. Nature is different from one plant to the another plant. Senescence phase means old age. When the plant lifespan is completed, that time the plant is entering into the senescence phase. This is also called old age. Right? So this is about that life cycle. See, here started with the seed, right? Plant, and these are the phases, and the flower production takes place. The flowers are developed into the fruit, and again produces the seed. So started with seed, ended with the seed. The life cycle of the plant started with the seed, ended with the seed. Right? Seedling process, again seed production, finally seeds production. Right? So that is about that life cycle. So here phenology. Sir, what is phenology? See, some of the plants are there. The plants, nature means morphology is there. Okay, morphology of some plants varies from season to season, from one season to another season. Spring season, one nature is there, right? Morphology of the plant having one nature. Again, whatever that autumn season is there, again another nature is exhibited by the same plant. So some of the plants have the capacity, shows the variation. The plant morphology shows the variation according to the seasons. According to the seasons. See, some of the plants which shows variations in seasons, right? That nature is called as phenology. That nature is called as phenology. We know, see, more leaves and more, okay, we know some of the plants, most of the plants produces the very young and green leaves within the spring season because more water is available, more minerals are available, rapid cell division takes place. Within the, okay, we know the summer season, the water is not available. Water is not available, minerals are not available. So most of the plants are not having the leaves. Right. So see, one season to another season, the plant appearance is varied. The plant appearance is varied. So the point is called as here phenology. Right. So that is about some of the important points which are regarding to that plant growth and regulators. There is nothing but hormones. There is nothing but the hormones. Right? And see, I like to discuss about here one of the important point, tissues. Yeah, this is one of the table, right? See, we know about the tissues because in the first year we discussed about the tissues and their arrangement or orientation within the plants, right? That is nothing but tissue, plant tissues, right? So here tissues are there. Basically, here three types of tissues are present. If we take any plant, parenchyma is there. This is the smooth tissue and the living tissue. Collenchyma, this is the mechanical tissue. And this is the living tissue, right? Sclerenchyma, right? See, this is the dead tissue. Sclerenchyma is the mechanical and this is the dead tissue. So these are distributed in different plants, in different positions also, right? So parenchyma is present in roots. Parenchyma is present in roots, and parenchyma that is also present in shoots. Parenchyma is also present in leaves. See, we know the parenchyma is the most abundant tissue within the plants. See, the very first plant cells, means very first plants, whatever that algae, so which are also having the tissue is considered as the parenchymatous tissue. The first evolved tissue is the parenchymatous tissue. From parenchyma, see, the corners are deposited, for suppose, This is one of the parenchyma cell. Okay. The first evolved tissue is the parenchyma, or within normal plants also the first producer tissue is the parenchyma. Sir, how the parenchyma cells are produced? Whatever that meristematic cells are there, the meristematic cells are involved in the continuous cell division process which produces that very smooth tissues. These are the parenchymatous cells, which the corners, especially within the parenchymatous cells, if the corners are deposited, then the parenchymatous cells are turns into the collenchyma. Right? Again, if the collenchyma cells completely, okay, the cytoplasm and all these are, the cell walls are deposited, that is nothing but sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma, dead tissue. Sclerenchyma is the dead tissue. So from one tissue to the second tissue, origin takes place here, right? So here, collenchyma. Next one is the collenchyma. So this is the collenchyma, and the collenchyma is absent in roots. The collenchyma is absent in roots, and the collenchyma is present in shoots, and collenchyma that is present in leaves. Okay. So whatever that collenchyma is there, collenchyma is very different regarding to the roots. The collenchyma is absent in roots, and present in shoot and present in leaves. And next one is the sclerenchyma. See, this is present in roots, present in shoots, and present in leaves. So the first case and the last case is almost ubiquitous, means present in all the plant tissues. But the second case is quite different because this is not present in the roots. Collenchyma is not present in the roots, right? So that is about the distribution of different types of tissues. So in the next class we'll discuss about what is growth, right? We already discussed. Again, types of the growths, and how we are measuring the growth. What are the instruments we have for the growth? We'll discuss in the next class.